Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice podcast. We would like to first say thank you to those who tune in week after week, those who share the link on various platforms. Thank you. Y'all, this season, we are excited to bring you some hot and new topics. We are ready to push you further into your destiny. If you feel stuck or even overwhelmed, I want you to tune in and have a mind of expectancy, because we believe that if you challenge it, it will change.
Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice. It's always good to have you here. I hope you have been enjoying what we have been talking about pressure. Y'all, tonight we're just going to dialogue. We're just going to talk and prayerfully you feel where we're going with this. So again, this pressure is so timely because so many people are dealing with it in their life. We cannot act as if it is not happening in our time. We cannot act as if we don't see it and we don't recognize it, because pressure is real. My team is here, and you heard us leave off our last week. We were talking about how do you deal with the pressure, and where do you release the pressure? And so we're just gonna dialogue tonight, and some of the things we're gonna talk about, they're gonna be very powerful tools for you, because we know it is very needed. Come on, join in, team. Ebony is dealing with the pressure of a deployment. And I know many wives, many husbands, many children, mothers, fathers, they are dealing with this pressure. You know, we are dealing with the Russia and the Ukraine, and our peoples are, you know, on standby. Let's deal with this pressure again. Who wants to talk about it?
I can go first. I think that the way we ended off last week's podcast, it was really just reminding me of the importance of mental health and how important it is for you to make sure that you're doing what you need to do in order to keep your mental health actually healthy. And you have to be able to find that outlet, but not only find an outlet, but a source that you trust to fully show up as you, not with the mask or trying to cover up things, but you have to find a source that you trust and a source that will give you good sound wisdom in order to show up present. And I think that this conversation is actually so on time for me, because just this week I was having like a kind of rough day on Tuesday. And I didn't know, like, I didn't really want to be bothered by nobody. I went to the gym and I worked out, and that still kind of didn't work. And y'all, literally, so I've been studying like the names of God and stuff like that. And so this week I literally like found out like God introduced himself to me in a different way. Like you always read in the Bible where it says like God is a mighty counselor, but I had never actually encountered him as a mighty counselor before. And so on Tuesday, where I was having a rough day, and literally God just like asked me, he was like, how do you feel? Like the therapist, like if you go to therapy and the therapist asks you, how do you feel? And like literally that's what God asked me, like, how do you feel? And in that moment, I felt so relieved, because I didn't feel like I had to be that strong person. Like I was able to take off everything and just like let it all out and actually put my feelings into words. And that is so, it's one thing to know that you feel a certain way, but it's another thing to actually put those feelings into words and then do the work to categorize those emotions and actually figure out, okay, this is why I feel this way, this is why I feel this way, and then where do we go from here? So I don't know about y'all, but I have literally learned how to like talk to God like he's like right here, like a best friend. But that's what works for me, and just getting to know God on that new level. And then after that happened, like my whole day just turned upside down. I like, well, not upside down, I guess right side up. But anyways, getting to know God as a mighty counselor was just so important for me, and getting my mental health stage back to a healthy space.
That's good, Jalen, because sometimes so many people think that mental health is a bad thing. And in our day and world where we are today present, mental health is not a bad thing. I remember when someone would bring up mental health, they thought that something was wrong with you. And I like how you brought out the fact that you don't have to always feel like you're so strong. Many of us think that we have to be strong, but you don't have to be strong all the time. It's okay that you are feeling this way. What's not okay when you allow those things to overtake you.
That's right.
When you allow those things to conquer you, that's when it's not okay.
And Dr. Linda, can I say that because everything that you and Jalen just said, I think that you have to be in touch with your feelings. I don't think you can ignore your feelings. Like Jalen said, the thing that normally worked, okay, didn't work this time. I went to the gym, it didn't work. I prayed, it still ain't shaking. I done read my word, it still ain't moving. I have to learn how to be in touch with my feelings and say, this is how I feel, instead of burying it. And then all of a sudden I'm exploding. I think
that's good.
I think you have to touch bases with that. And and although you prayed and you read your word, I promise you God is moving. Although you may not see him moving or feel him moving, he is. That's when he will send somebody your way, or that's when he will introduce himself in a new way. But I'm so, I just don't think that you can ignore your feelings and think that you're going to be okay. And I think sometimes when we choose to ignore our feelings, we allow other things to pile up on top of us. And you're like someone said on the last podcast, how did I get here? How did I get here? Because I never addressed my feelings.
Wow.
And I think it's important to know how to do that.
And also, not only is it important to know how to be in touch with your feelings, but to be validated in your feelings. Like, it's okay for you to feel how you feel. Like, it's valid.
Yes.
You feel how you feel, but it's different to be validated in your feelings and to be stuck in your feelings. Once you have accepted, yes, this is how I feel, and it's valid when I feel this way. But now you have to figure out where to go.
Yes. That is so true. That's powerful. Hey, I love what you're saying, Jalen. I mean, I just think for such a time as this, we have to deal with the real issues. I like what you said, Renise. I prayed about it. I went and I just didn't understand why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And still dealing with this pressure. You just really have to realize that, hey, let me get around somebody and let me talk to somebody. But, you don't always have to talk because, y'all, there are times when I'm going through some serious stuff. My mother seems like she just know when to call me. And she talks directly to the thing that I'm going through. I don't even have to open my mouth. And when I'm listening to her wisdom, I don't brush off what she is saying, because what I'm feeling is for real. What I may or you may call small, that may be a really big thing to me. I'm calling my daughter Ebony. I talk to her every day, but I call her even more now that my son Peter is gone, because Peter was there make sure the doors was locked, and things that you may not realize that person makes a big difference when they are there, and when they're gone. You all, sometimes that pressure can overwhelm you. Ebony, talk to me a little bit about pressure. Again, talking about how do we deal with it.
Y'all got some good stuff. I really do like what they were saying about, validation, knowing that it's okay to not be okay. And of course, I got to give out shout out to my favorite Chandler Moore. He's one of my favorite artists, and he simply has a song that it's okay to not be okay. But what I do like, being a Christian, it's, as Jalen was saying, it's as simple as having that conversation with God. And not only time am I going to only have the conversation with him, excuse me, but I'm also going to have the conversation with others. With me going through what I'm going through, it's so amazing to me how God gives us the strength to do what we need to do. And even when I feel like I'm weak, God to tell me to text the other young lady that we're both going through this together. And I'm looking like, how am I going to encourage her when we both in the beginning stage? The beginning stage is always the worst. It feels like it's crucial because of course you've got, as Jada was saying, you've got transitions, you've got to adapt. And, being a military brat, being a military spouse, how to adapt, but it takes time. So it's okay for you to sit there and say, okay, yes, this week that didn't work out. Let's try something different next week. And I'm going back and I'm reminded of your blog, Dr. Linda, when it was talking about the expectations of the world, how you were saying, it's okay if you're not okay. It's okay if this is not well, because society tells us, especially as military spouses, you're supposed to be able to handle this. You're supposed to be able to manage. You're supposed to be able to, conquer, basically, because that's what they consider us. But in reality, you can't. Some days are better than others, but there are going to be days in your life, period. I don't care what anybody is going through, whether it's a finance, whether it's a marriage, whether it's children, job, whatever the issue is, you're going to always have those days. My job put a demonstration out there, and it shows how when something first goes good, you're on this high. You get a new job, you're on a high. You get married, you're on a high. Whatever happens, you have a newborn baby, you're on a high. But somewhere down there, you just end up in the slumps. But they have a picture of a man that is barely holding on. And the lady just simply told us, if you can endure, just endure through that season. She said, because you'll come back out on top. And you're going to look back at those 30 days before and say, that wasn't as bad as I thought.
That's good.
So that's what I say to somebody that is listening today. It doesn't matter what you're facing. Have that validation with yourself. I'm not okay. Yes, we're going through a divorce. Yes, we're going through this. It's okay to say it out loud. You don't have to hide it. You don't have to keep it a secret. You don't have to pretend, but just say what it is so that you can heal. And that's what I say to that.
So you can.
Oh my God. Oh wow, that's good. Come on, talk to me, Davion. I'm not going to dive into that. Talk to me, Davion.
That's good. I like that because it was the point that you made right there at the end, talking about just hanging on. Man, that hanging on is so crucial, because it's at those points of just having to hang on where great things come from that. Great things come from just being able to hang on and just hold on. And even in those points where you're weak, just to be able to keep on going. Like great stories. We've all heard of, like, I don't know if y'all have heard Steve Harvey's story, but he had to hang on. He had to hang on. And just like him, there's so many other stories where people had to hang on. And it's so sad and unfortunate when you hear of, people who don't hang on in those times, and whatever it might be like, even if they, you know, if they committed suicide or whatever the case may be, is so sad because, you know, sometimes it may have you wonder like, man, if they could have just hung on, or like a relationship, or, you know, whatever it may be, just the ability to be able to endure. And like like my TT said, that's amazing, because I'm sure there's so many instances in our life where once we come through it, we say, man, that was only 30 days. Like, it wasn't too bad. Like, but it's during that time where we just have to hang on. But we come to the other side every time. When you hang on, if you just realize and you notice and you look back over your life through every single hard time, when you just hung on and, you know, had some fortitude and, you know, endured through that situation, you always came on the other side, and you was glad that you did it too. Like, you were happy. And it's something about, like, I don't know, have also in that sit down time where you're just kind of talking to yourself, talking out loud, just weighing everything out. Like, you know, if I give up now, like somebody might be in school thinking about giving up, and it's like, man, if I give up, you know, I really wanted to work this job, but man, if I give up, I don't know what's going to happen. So is it worth it? Is it worth giving up? You know what I mean? So that's that, I like that. That's very encouraging to somebody who might be feeling like, you know, giving up. Just hang on and do it. I know you hear that, but really just hang on and just keep on going. Take another step.
Wow, that, y'all, I'm telling you, this, I still believe I got to stay on this topic again, because y'all, pressure is real. And I want to deal with it in every area that I possibly can. I'm working on this sermon called Get Up. And y'all, let me tell you, because we are believers, I'm going to leave this word with you. And it's out of Galatians 6:9. And the word of the Lord said, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. You know, reaping time is when you have sowed and you have planted. Y'all, it will be a great harvest if we don't give up. Don't give up. Yes, pressure is real. Yes, mental health is real. It's okay not to be okay. I want to continue this in my next week. I am still on this pressure, y'all, because there's so much to be dealt with. But tune in on next week, and we're going to talk about it again. Y'all be blessed. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in this week. Our prayer is that you be encouraged. Know that life can be hard at times, sometimes even unbearable. But know, when we are weak, God is strong. Let's take off the world's expectation of us and ask God, what do you expect of me? We ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed week, and see you next week.